Hi, everybody, and welcome to Create in Place at the Long Center. This is one of our very first shows, and we're so excited to have you here for Long Story Short, is what we're calling this series, where we are talking to local leaders, organizations that we love, artists, musicians, just about all of the things that are still happening here in Austin during this COVID-19 crisis. So this is going to become kind of a fourth stage for us. While we can't physically gather, we want to stay together, stay connected to the community, serve artists. And so this is a way that we can do just that. And I'm really excited to be a part of this. And it's fun to take a step back and actually have a chance to talk to so many of these people that I admire and have worked with for so many years, because we get caught up in busy day to day. So it's actually really nice to have this time and space to do this. And for one of our very first guests, we all had a chat at the Long Center and talked about kind of, oh, who's on the list, and Ron's name came up over and over again. We're thrilled to have Ron Berry, who is artistic director. Is that correct title? Artistic director of Fusebox Festival here. I hope everybody knows what the Fusebox Festival is, but if you do not, it is such a treasure here in Austin. It's a contemporary live arts festival. It's in its 16th iteration this year. And I have to say, I've been in the field for 20 years, only the last 4 in Austin, and I was a huge fan of Fusebox. It was one of the things that really got me excited about coming to Austin, is getting to work with Ron and his team. It is not a stretch to say that he is internationally known and respected for what he does, and the incredible work and the diversity of performances that he's able to curate and bring right here to our neighborhood for free every year is just a huge, again, a treasure of living in Austin. So I am thrilled to have him here. Welcome, Ron. Thank you for being here from your living room or wherever.
Yeah, sort of a secret room that I have in
Oh,
my house. It's a weird shaped little office room. It's like not quite big enough for a bedroom, but so it's kind of like combo storage, utility room, and makeshift office right now.
I hear you. Well, we'll see how many dog, kid, Amazon delivery,
Oh yeah.
we have for everybody out there. This is our first time doing this, so we're winging it and just having fun, and just a chance to hear from each other. So I gave a little tiny background on Fusebox, but Ron, I'd love for you to tell us more about the festival in general.
Yeah, thank you. So that was so nice, and it's such an honor and a thrill to be here with you. And I'm such an admirer of what you're doing. So thank you. And the Long Center has been one of our longest partners. It's really one of our most beloved venues, so we're very appreciative on that level as well. Um, the Fusebox Festival, it's been around for 16 years. We were founded by a group of artists, and our background was mostly in theater and performance, but we were really interested in where theater and performance met these other art forms. And then we were living in Austin, and we really loved living in Austin, but we were hungry to meet other artists living in other parts of the world. So we started this festival. We had a budget of like $5,000 our first year. No idea we were going to do it twice, much less 16 times. But at the heart of it was this, I guess, this exchange of ideas across art forms and across geography. And that's still very central to the work that we do. We grew the festival through community partnerships with organizations like the Long Center and several others, and those began locally, and then those grew to national and international in scope. Now the festival happens in around 20 different locations around the city, and it's roughly 1/3 local, 1/3 national, 1/3 international. And yeah, we tried to hang on to that spirit of not knowing that we that we began with. I think it's in many ways we do know some things now. We travel all over the world. We've seen thousands of performances. We're part of an extraordinary network of colleagues in other festivals and art centers around the world. But for us, it's been important to kind of hang on to this sense of not knowing And maybe that's just a way of talking about how do you maintain your curiosity in the world, and how do you maintain an openness to going into some different kinds of places and continuing to explore and imagine what a festival can do, and how a festival can live in a meaningful relationship to place. We're we live in a city of festivals, and so we've always been interested in continuing to kind of tinker with and explore what a festival can be. And so anyway, that's kind of what it normally is. And it was supposed to be happening this week. And I look outside and the weather's so nice. You're like, oh man, this is gonna be like the greatest festival.
Yeah.
But
It's hard to imagine. The last time I saw you at Clay Pit last night, was it, or 2 nights ago? Go
yeah,
Clay Pit. Hopefully they'll
good
serve us
idea.
food now. But
Great minds.
it was at Fuse Bash, which is, for those that don't know, Fusebox, the inaugural, and I hope you have more. It's a fundraiser for the organization. And true story, I hope there's no photos. It was the best party of the year. I had so much fun. Queen cover band, Jello shots, amazing local artists. So it was such a blast. It was in February, and who would have thought, we were talking about like seeing each other at the festival, that we would be here today. So it's interesting because of the timing. You all had some heads up, unlike South by that kind of just went away, but very little heads up. So it's been, to me, really fascinating to follow you and see how you've been able to pivot. And I know that you're going to be doing a different kind of festival starting on the 24th. So tell me a little bit about, I mean, really also, did your mind just explode? How did you reach out to artists? I mean, what was that process like? And most importantly, the inspirational part of where you ended up, and what we're going to be able to see with the festival this year.
Yeah, thank you. Those are all great questions. It was a process. It felt like it started in one place, and we kept learning more. And they were like, okay, well, maybe we need to just rethink the festival. Maybe it's no international artists and it's just national and local. And they were like, well, maybe it's just local artists, and then maybe we just do things outside where people can kind of carry out their own social distancing and still watch something. And it just started to become something so far from what we were originally wanting to do. It just didn't make sense anymore. And then it just, I don't know. And then we just literally didn't have any choice. It was like, you can't gather in that way anymore. But there was a moment, I think, where we were like, we could keep waiting and seeing how it plays out, or we could just make a call. And we made a call maybe about 5 weeks out. I think South by had already been canceled. But we wanted to give ourselves that extra couple of weeks to make a pivot to a virtual festival. And we thought if we waited longer to make that call, we were just going to have less and less time to be able to pivot in a way that was meaningful. So like, let's at least give ourselves a month to figure this out. We also had, I mean, that's not really, we specifically work in a art form that is about being in a room with other people. We are not working digitally. And so it's a big leap for us. We like the idea of making that leap with our artists. And so we reached out to all of our festival artists. And we know this is a crazy time for so many people, and everyone's dealing with their own stuff. And so it was, absolutely up to the artists whether they participated in this or not. There was no preconditions around, like, please, we're going to try this thing out. We'd love for you to come along with this ride with us. But there's no obligation on your part to participate. But I'd say we probably had about 90% participation rate. For the most part, the artists were really excited about it. I think for them, there's a bit of a creative challenge, and it's a creative prompt. Like, well, what does that mean to then put this work in an online platform? And I think for most of our artists, they're not just doing a live stream of what they were going to be doing. I don't think I don't think it's logistically possible. No one's in theaters, and we don't have the lighting, or so it's just not logistically possible. most people are just in their living rooms. So, um, so there's a different set of parameters that they're dealing with. So that became a really fun, creative challenge, I think, for these artists to figure out how to translate what they were doing in some shape or fashion into a virtual setting. Um, and that's kind of how we're thinking about this as a, we wanted to share these artists that we've been working with for almost 2 years on this festival, but we also wanted to use this opportunity sort of as an experiment to see what kinds of things work and what kinds of things don't, what kinds of things are more meaningful in a virtual online setting. And so there's a wide range of things that we're offering, and we're playing with lots of different timing, like time formats and duration. So there's like some stuff that's like 2 minutes long. There's some stuff that's 5 minutes. There's some stuff that's 15 minutes. There's some stuff that's 24 hours long. So we're really playing with duration, different there's workshops, there's cooking classes, there's readings, there's talks, there's happy hours, there's dance parties. We're doing studio visits. We thought that was actually a really cool thing. Normally with the festival, we're bringing in all these artists from around the world. We're like, well, we can't have them here, but we could go to an artist that we were bringing in from Manila. We could go to their studio in Manila, and that's pretty cool. We have artists in Indonesia and in Tokyo, and we can like actually visit them where they live. So that's really cool. And I think there's also there's a neat kind of intimacy about visiting with an artist in their home. That's kind of special. That's kind of cool. That's something you don't normally do. And so I think we're finding out these other kinds of ways to connect our audiences with our artists. That's maybe, it's not how we would ideally want to do things forever, but it's also, there's something interesting about it. It's a way to I think, connect in a sort of intimate way during this moment. So that's kind of how it came to be. But we're definitely not pretending to have all the answers about how to do a virtual festival. I think we're really approaching it from a place of not knowing, but a place of exploring and of curiosity and wonder, and engaging with our artists around what this might look like. And then I think the idea is to take inventory of that afterwards, and maybe continue with some of those things that work, some of the things that are more meaningful, and maybe do more of that moving forward.
So I love that. And I love that you point out that it's not just, I mean, there was work created for the festival that's, theater based, or has that production value that hopefully we'll be able to see at some point. I know we were really excited about the performances that were slated for the Long Center. So fingers crossed we can still do it at some point. But it's pretty amazing that you're actually creating a whole new catalog of work. That it's not only that work that was created for the festival, but now there's this new catalog that's being created for kind of the online side. And I love the idea of studio visits, and that could probably be something that you could continue in conjunction with the live festival in the future, to give people even more context and, like you said, more kind of depth into how the artist created, how they're thinking and everything. So you see some of the elements maybe will kind of continue along in the future years?
Yeah, that's a great question. I hope so. I mean, to be perfectly honest, we've been really interested in doing more virtual online programming. It makes sense. I mean, also, I think there's environmental issues around touring a bunch of work. There's issues around accessibility that I think virtual and online platforms really get at in a really efficient way. We can reach a lot more people, and so there's some great exciting things about this platform and this format, and it makes all the sense in the world to continue doing some of this work. And it just felt like this was a moment to like really, okay, let's roll up our sleeves and let's get in there and try this out. And so yeah, I think I'm curious to see what we learn, but my feeling is you're right. I think studio visits in particular could be a really beautiful, interesting thing to keep sharing, and a way to provide context. I'm really interested in where artists are coming from, the world that they're coming from, and how that shapes their work. And so I just think that's interesting to see that, experience that. Let's actually go on location and experience that. That seems kind of like a no-brainer moving forward to continue on into the future with that.
Absolutely. It's interesting because we've been obviously I'm gonna be glued to the computer the 24th through the 26th for the online Fusebox, and checking out what's happening, and not only because I love the artist, but also to see the platforms and get ideas. The Long Center, we've been pushed too to be thinking about that, and it kind of, once you get over the initial like, oh my gosh, what are we gonna do, it really is opens, it blows the whole thing open, thinking we have 2,400 seats, which is a lot, but in the future, if we were able to live stream and things, then you just have this unlimited access. And you brought it up, and we've been talking about it a lot. In the arts, there's a lot of challenges, there's a lot of boundaries to people participating, and so geographical, physical, economical, and by opening it up to, you get a choice of, I certainly love, respect, have dedicated my life to the live experience, but also having different options for different people in different circumstances, I think could actually be a really wonderful thing for our field in general. And then what you've already done with the festival for so long, and expanding on making our world smaller, and being able to visit in Manila, and understand what's happening in Tokyo and all, I think that there's a lot of positive that can come out of all of this. So it's tough, but I think it'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a lot of possibility in it, and I certainly am not intending for it to replace the live event. That's like yourself. I think I've dedicated so much of my life to the live event and the live experience, and it's so near and dear to my heart. And I feel like, if anything, this might, you know, might make people appreciate that even more. That's my hope. But this is a way to figure out some other ways that we can just reach more people and connect more people, and ultimately invite them back into our live spaces when we can do that. That's kind of how I'm thinking about it. And if there are some things that this platform, this technology gets at that's better, then like, great, that's cool. But I'm not looking at it as a thing that can replace the live experience or live event. It just can add to it, and be its own sort of thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I hate, asking artistic directors, what's your hot pick or something, because obviously you are intimately in love with every single performance and artist that you're bringing. So I would encourage anybody watching, if you've ever been, for whatever reason, intimidated or unaware of what was happening in Fusebox, what a great way to be able to tune in and get a taste for what the festival is, and this amazing work that's happening here in Austin. So I encourage all of you. I'm sure there'll be more information on the website as well.
Yep, totally.
Yeah.
Fuseboxfestival.com.
Yeah.
And we just announced the lineup today, but then on Friday, uh, there'll be the full schedule. And you can watch we're building a sort of custom interface for you to experience the festival, and you can access that from our website, fuseboxfestival.com. You can also, we'll be streaming it out to Facebook Live and YouTube Live as well.
And before I have you set up the video we're going to show about Fusebox, we're kind of asking our guests, would love to hear about a favorite Long Center moment.
Oh my, there's been so many. Seriously, like, you've really just been such an anchor for this festival and such a home for us. So I'm so grateful. Let's see, we've done a handful of projects out on the terrace. I'm just seeing the terrace behind you, and so I'm flooded with those memories. We did this wonderful project with Emily Marks and Allison Orr from Forklift, with a group of around 100 young teenage girls and this female punk rock band from Atlanta called the Coat Hangers, and they were playing out there. And then the girls were like smashing paper mache guitars, and it was just like girl power. It was awesome. Also, the wonderful Sam Green, who's a wonderful filmmaker and does a lot of these live documentaries. He did a beautiful screening out there, and looking out at the city from the terrace there was just so beautiful. It was a beautiful spring night, and that was a really special memory for me as well.
Awesome. Well, we've loved having you. And tell us a little bit about what you're going to see in the video.
Yeah, well, it's just kind of a get to know Fusebox, some of the basics, captures some of the spirit of who we are and what we're about and our ethos. You're hearing from some different people, and there's clips from some of our artists, so you kind of get a visual sense, and then a sense of our spirit and ethos.
Awesome. I look forward to watching it. And again, Ron Berry, who is artistic director of Fusebox Festival, ATX based. Thank you so much. Love the work that you're doing. So appreciate you and your team in this community, and can't wait to check it out starting on the 24th.
Yeah, you are amazing. Thank you so much. That's such a thrill and privilege and honor to be here with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Enjoy, everybody.
When it comes to live performance or these art forms that you need to experience in person, it's really hard to engage with these art projects and these artists unless you're traveling all over the world. And so we thought it would be really meaningful to start bringing some of these projects that we think were really some of the most exciting things happening in the world to Austin.
One of the things I love about live theater, live performance, is it requires you to be really present. It requires you to find that contentment, that essence of success, whatever it is you're looking for, to fall in love with the present moment.
Now more than ever, I think arts engaging the global conversation is a critical part. Fusebox is one of the most central things happening in Austin that plugs us into this international conversation.
For me, Fusebox is an incredible organization. It's definitely a world leader. The extraordinary care that it has for artists and their work, balanced by this incredible generosity to audiences in the local context of Austin.
I think Fusebox Festival is one of those rare Austin gems that actually makes Austin as cool as we like to think that we are. I feel like I can say that as a native Austinite. And the fact that it's free and open to the public, I think, is so powerful and amazing, and we have to make sure we keep it that way. And I want to believe that we live in a city that really cares about inclusivity and creativity and equity. And I think something like Fusebox Festival, because we're bringing in so many diverse voices from around the world and throughout our own community, because it's totally free to the public, I feel like it's checking all of those boxes.
When you donate to Fusebox, you're doing lots of things, and your money is going to good work, let me assure you. And what do I mean by that? Well, you're ensuring that our entire 5-day International Performing Arts Festival is free to attend, for thousands of people. It's amazing. I also want to just point out that just because it's free doesn't mean that we're not paying our artists. In fact, we prioritize paying our artists. It's our single biggest festival expense. So when you're supporting Fusebox, when you're giving us a donation, that money is going directly to pay artists. We hope that you can attend. We hope that you bring some friends, family members, people that you just kind of know. Come on out. It's all free.